Oh, they've done it! Terodde, an instant hero! Can you believe it? Plenty attacking! No! The comeback is complete! A stunning second half from Schalke!
Glück auf und herzlich willkommen zurück auf Schalke America. Oh, my sound is bothering me right now. Let's turn that puppy down. Oh, all right, there we go. I feel better. Hopefully you can hear me still. Glück auf. How's everyone doing tonight? It is Friday night. Oh my goodness, what night is it? It is it's been an interesting one, no doubt about it. Got a win last week, 4-0. Can't complain about that, right? But we're not doing a podcast tonight, so to speak. I want to get to a little, obviously we want to do more of the press conferences of Karel Geraerts. Obviously they're in English, so it's going to be helpful there, right? But I want to kind of dissect what he says and then see how his before press conference, what he says and how the game plays out, and then the post-match ones. And so we'll try to do a little bit more of these. But kind of want to dissect the press conference, go bit by bit, then kind of do an analysis of it, I guess, so to speak. So let's just get straight into it, man. Press conference was yesterday. So let's go piece by piece and then, dissect what he says, segment by segment. So let's go.
Ja, hallo und herzlich willkommen zu unserer Pressekonferenz vor unserem Auswärtsspiel beim FC Hansa Rostock. Anstoß ist am Sonntag um 13:30 Uhr. Wie immer darf ich auf dem Podium unseren Cheftrainer Karel Geraerts begrüßen und dann freuen wir uns auf eure Fragen rund um die Partie. Wir starten mit dir, Große Schlamann, für Sky.
Hey, Coach. Can you tell us something about the squad?
Yes, even it's early. But we know, of course, no surprise, Dominic Drexler is out, Yusuf Kabadai is out, and of course, Hassan is still out. So these three players definitely out, and the rest today look good.
All right, so what we know for sure is that we have several players that are out at the moment. With injury, we knew about Drexler, we knew about Kabadai. They're out for a good extended bit of time. As is Hassan Drago. We knew all three of them were out for the remainder of 2023. Drago, we knew for the last week or so that he's been out. But also we heard about Drexler and Kabadai, that they'd be out for the rest of 2023. And so that is all the coaches are saying there. So so far, so good. Nothing too crazy.
Ja, die obligatorische Frage nach dem Personal, er sagt es natürlich sehr früh. Wir haben noch ein paar Tage bis zum Sonntag, aber definitiv raus sind Dominic Drexler, Yusuf Kabadai und Hassan Drago. Beim Rest wird geschaut.
There's never been a better time to get away.
Commercials, huh?
With a great deal on the Hyundai you've always wanted.
Die Große Schlamann nochmal für Sky.
What did this victory against Osnabrück make with the team? I do not mean it unrespectful, but it was just Osnabrück, but it was a victory. So what did it make with the team?
Yeah, I think it gave the team especially confidence. I think in that moments only a win can give the team some good feeling. And it's good that you say we have a lot of respect for the opponent, also for Osnabrück. So they have their problems, we had our problems. So I was a happy coach, and I saw a happy team, of course, after the game. They scored 4 goals. We keep the clean sheet. It's important, and this must give confidence for the next game.
Yeah, so basically Dirk Scherman said that how he felt after the 4-0 win. Obviously, it's Osnabrück, right? So he wasn't trying to make light of them. All coach was saying there is that, no disrespect to the opposition. We won 4-0. We have our problems. They have their problems. But in the end, we had a better day, and the players felt better, and hopefully they can use that momentum going forward. And there's not much you could take away. We talked about it this last podcast of the day. Is like, yeah, it's 4-0, great, we won, but by no means do we think we're back. No, we don't think we're back at all by any stretch. But you gotta take the positives with the negative, right? And we get a victory against Hansa Rostock, and then we're a little bit of a streak there, and you want to end the Hinrunde on a good note. Jack and I were talking about just chatting today, actually, and based on the results from today, if we get a win, we're at minimum 14th place. That's 2 positions better than where we are right now. I mean, that's how tight it is, and at minimum, at best we're probably 11th or 12th. So we got to get a result. That's the most important thing. So let's get into the rest of the press conference here.
Ja, die Frage, was der Sieg mit dem Team gemacht hat, und er sagt, natürlich hat das Team dadurch Selbstvertrauen gewinnen können. Nach dem Sieg hat man immer ein gutes Gefühl. Natürlich hatten sie auch Respekt vor dem Gegner. Osnabrück hatte deren Probleme, wir hatten unsere eigenen. Er war sehr glücklich nach dem Spiel, vor allem weil 4 Tore geschossen wurden und kein Gegentreffer erzielt
wurde. The host is just merely translating to German for everyone.
Toni Lieto für den Kicker.
Hello. You played against Osnabrück with 4 in a row and 4 in the center, Paul Seguin on the right side. Is this an option for the match in Rostock? And what are the was heißt Vorteile? What's the advantage from this formation?
Well, I think that it's, for me, the most interesting to see is that my team can play different formations. We played a lot of times 3-5-2. Now, in this game, we played 4-4-2. But, for example, in Düsseldorf, the team was able to switch 2 times from system during the game. So this tells me that it's a flexible team. As coach, it's important to have and to know. Like this, we can prepare every game. Of course, we look to the opponent, how they play, what is their strength, and then we try to put our best strategy in the opposite side. And when you have more options as a coach, is always good. So I have now more options for example, for Sunday and Rostock.
So that's interesting there. It's an interesting take by Geraerts there on the team because, shout out to Boutre in the chat. I see you there. But yeah, we noticed in the last several games, they've been using different formations. Jack and I talked about how the 4-4-2 diamond seemed to really show the strengths of the team, especially defensively. Schallenberg has mentioned the same thing. What I didn't know is that he was tinkering with the formations during the game. Now, granted, you take formations with a grain of salt because in games, formations change, right? In attack, your formation is different from when you're defending or when the ball's in the middle of the pitch, right? But he's saying that, they tried different formations in the Düsseldorf match. Clearly, it wasn't working in the first half. Second half, they made some adjustments, and then it kind of opened up for them. And what he's realized is that his team is pretty flexible. Geraerts likes to be flexible. I've seen his teams in the past, and what he likes to do is he will shift towards his opponent. And so I think he's starting to see from his team what formations work well and what don't work well. And so in games, they know they have at least a couple formations, at least for right now, that they can kind of switch back and forth through in the game, throw the opposition off, and hopefully that leads to better results. Obviously, it worked wonders against Osnabrück, bottom of the table. But let's see what against Hansa Rostock. It's a big opportunity for us to kind of get back-to-back wins, back-to-back relegation 6-pointers, as Jack likes to say. And it's going to be important to see how we improve upon this in this next game. It's going to be a test. Hansa's pretty tough. So let's get to the rest of the press conference here.
Ja, die Frage nach der Formation, oder wollen wir direkt eine Nachfrage machen? Ich übersetze einmal kurz oder fasse einmal kurz zusammen. Die Frage nach der Formation, wenn man jetzt im 4-4-2 gespielt hat, davor häufig im 3-5-2 und der Trainer sagt, es ist ein Team, was sehr flexibel ist. In Düsseldorf haben wir es sogar geschafft, 2-mal innerhalb des Spiels die Formation zu wechseln. Es gibt mir sehr viele Optionen und so kann ich mich optimal auf jeden Gegner vorbereiten. Dann nochmal Toni Lieto für den Kicker.
And what can you say about Paul Seguin? He was very well against Osnabrück, played on the right side in the center. Is it a good position for him, and why?
Well, I'm happy with the last 2 performances of Paul. Also in Düsseldorf, when he came, he showed his quality, especially on the ball. Against Osnabrück also, he was present. Of course, the goal is something special, extra for Paul himself and for the team. But I feel that Paul is feeling better, comfortable in the club. And I think it's important for him to make some good games now in a row. He had good 2 games now, but it cannot stop now. He needs to, of course, to continue to play that level, because he is here in Schalke and he is seen as an important player. And this you can be if you have every week again a good performance.
Ja, die Nachfrage
All
zu
right,
Paul
so,
Seguin.
We're going to talk about Paul Seguin right there, how important he is for the team. It's funny because the last press conference after the Osnabrück match, he mentioned how Paul Seguin is one of the top 4 players on the club, which drew the ire of Jack and I. Not, no discredit to Paul Seguin. I think he's a fine player, top 4. I don't know, but hey, we asked, is he hyping up his player, or does he actually feel like that way? We saw the last 2 games when Seguin is in there, he's made an impact, right? Has it been that case all season long? No. Was it a confidence issue? Probably. But, if he can build on that, and that's kind of what the coach is saying, is if he builds on that, the rest of the team can thrive on that. Now, Jack and I both, we kind of discussed this last podcast and said, look, not saying Seguin is the best or not, it doesn't matter. But when he's on, you can tell, because he does so many things that other players do not, right? Templeman doesn't have the attacking skill that Paul Seguin has, and there's really nobody else, right? Asante Ouedraogo, who we've seen sparsely lately, mostly because of injury, he can certainly do that. But outside of that, who do we have to really facilitate the offense going forward? Not many options. And so you need a guy like Seguin to be that fulcrum from defense to midfield up into the attack. And what we see in the last 2 games, the second half against Dusseldorf, and then obviously the Osnabrück matches, he can play that part. Now, if he gains the confidence, keep going like that, he needs to come up big against Hansa. But Jack and I have been pleasantly surprised about how well Seguin has done lately, and hopefully he can continue that, because the team can only do better when he does well. So and it's every game that he's ever done well for us this season, we've won. So he maybe is a key factor that we're not even realizing how key he is. And so maybe that's what Geraerts has been speaking about lately here. So let's get back to the press conference here.
Trainer sagt, er hat jetzt die letzten beiden Spiele sehr gut gespielt, hat seine Qualität gezeigt, war immer präsent, er fühlt sich inzwischen auch besser, ist hier im Club angekommen. Wichtig, dass er jetzt weitere gute Spiele macht, nicht aufhört nach den beiden. Und er ist halt nach wie vor ein wichtiger Spieler und wird auch als dieser angesehen. Norbert Neubaum fürs Medienhaus Bauer und die Recklinghäuser Zeitung.
I would like to continue the question of Toni for the system. What I don't understand, I'm only soccer on amateur level in my career. But what is the difference if you have 3 men in the row or 4 men in the row? I can remember when Thomas Reis played with 4 men in the row. We all said he has to play with 3 men. You started with 3 men, and I think you had 2 victories with the 3 men in the last row. And now you change on 4 players. Why is it so important? What is the biggest difference for the players, for the squad?
Well, I think that the players, they need to feel comfortable in which shape that you play. Which player is in good shape. It will also influence my choice about the shape. Of course, the opponent, how the opponent play, how we can put something in front of that system. So for me, honestly, 3-5-2, 4-4-2. When you press the pause button, sometimes even when you play with 3, you see 4. So it's really very flexible, because when you have the ball, without ball, it changes all the time. So for me, yes, the system is important as a starting point to know the players what to do in which moments. But during the game, it changed a lot of time. And I can understand your question, because tactic is important, it's good, and must be clear. But it is very flexible depending the game.
And it's kind of what we were saying earlier about how formations, you talk about what formation you're going to do it in whatever game, but it doesn't really matter. In different phases of the game, the formation is going to be different. And as he's saying here, even in same positions, the formation is going to change. The question is obviously asking hey, Thomas Reis like the 3 at the back. He started out with 3 in the back, got 2 wins, went to 4 in the back. Now he's got a win here again. Why does he keep tickering like this? And so he's like, ultimately, it's about making the players comfortable. I agree about that, right? And the formation is just a a forethought. Is just the most important thing is knowing what the direction is, what the discipline is. Yeah, whatever you start with is whatever it is. But in different phases of the game, you have different responsibilities, and so it doesn't matter if you're in a 4-4-2, a 3-5-2, a 4-2-3-1. It doesn't matter when the defenders have the ball in their own end. How do you attack that? How do you play against it? When the ball's in the middle of the pitch and they have the ball, how do you set up against that? When they're attacking you, how do you defend it? And he mentioned, like, hey, you could play in a 3-5-2 formation, but you have my 4 guys back there. We've seen where there's 5 guys back there, right? Where you have the 3 center backs plus the 2 wing backs falling back too, and you got a line of 5 and then 3 in the middle. So it can change instantly to a 5-3-2. And so the formations is something which is we all want to talk about, and it's all about us as football manager fans. We talk about that all the time, but it doesn't really matter. It's how you approach each phase of the game with and without the ball. That is the most important thing. That's kind of what Karel Geraerts says, is you have to be flexible in the game no matter what, because it changes all the time in many, many different situations. So knowing what to do in a given situation is the most important thing. And I think that's what basically, in summation of what Karel Geraerts is saying. Glück auf El Wafflo in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you. What are you guys drinking tonight? Like I was saying earlier, I'm drinking a little Canadian whiskey here while we're going over to Geraerts' press conference. Let's get back into it. Oh, let's go.
Ja, hier wurde nochmal die Frage nach dem System aufgegriffen, 3er- oder 4er-Kette, was der Unterschied ist. Und der Trainer sagt, egal in welchem System man spielt, die Spieler müssen sich wohlfühlen. Es spielt auch immer eine Rolle, wie die Spieler drauf sind, wie der Gegner agiert. Und das System ist so oder so sehr flexibel. Also auch wenn man mit 3 hinten spielt, sieht man manchmal 4. Wichtig ist, ein System als Startpunkt zu haben, und dann kann sich das sehr dynamisch innerhalb eines Spiels entwickeln. Andreas Ernst für die WAZ.
The atmosphere in the dressing room was a big topic this week, thanks to the article in Sportbild. How have you experienced the players and the atmosphere in the dressing room so far? Was this a topic of discussion after Wednesday?
To be honest, no.
By the way, did anyone catch that article? I didn't catch that article with what Andreas Ernst is referring to, but I guess they talk about the locker room and possibly what was said. I don't know if it was positive or negative, or how it was, or what was exactly. If you know, let me know in the chat. Definitely after this, I'm going to have to go watch that or read that. Excuse me, but yeah, curious.
I think the most important what happened in the dressing room was last Monday, Tuesday. It was nothing special. We spoke about the game in Düsseldorf. I give my opinion, players give their opinion, and for me it was something very natural, very normal. So yes, the only thing which is not normal is that everything go out of the dressing room. That's not good.
Interesting. So we got a little bit more insight into what happened with this article says. So after the Düsseldorf match, apparently, there's some conversations. Obviously, it's normal, right? You go in the locker room and people air their grievances about what was well, especially the manager. The manager's going to do that, right? Say what went well, what didn't go well. So I bet everyone was apparently yapping their mouths, going back and forth. Everyone, it's good when you have communication like that where everyone's talking back and forth. But what apparently the article was about is that a couple of players kind of opened their mouth and leaked it to the press. Never a good thing. Interesting, because we did see leading up to this week that maybe it's Bild or somebody said that there are a bunch of players that they want out. Oyan, Farman, Poulter, there's a bunch of players listed that supposedly Geraerts wanted out. I mean, either way, you can't have people leaking what is said in the locker room out to the press. Those are snitches get stitches, right? What's the old saying in the United States? You can't have that happen at all. It shows a distrust in the team, and if it just found out who it is, I would not be against them leaving the club, getting kicked out, because you can't have success when you have people like that bringing down the morale of the club. So I'm curious now to read this article in Die Zeitung or wherever it is. But curious comments there. More insight there from Geraerts there, which I did not realize until just now, because this is the first time seeing this press conference here. So let's get back into it.
Ja, die Frage nach der Atmosphäre innerhalb der Kabine, auch Bezug nehmend auf die Berichterstattung unter der Woche. Und der Trainer sagt, die Berichterstattung an sich war kein großes Thema. Das Wichtigste, was war, dass die Mannschaft am Montag und am Dienstag gesprochen hat, das Spiel Spiel aufgearbeitet hat. Er hat seine Meinung gesagt, hat auch die Spieler um die Meinung gebeten. Das ist alles ganz normal. Was hingegen nicht so normal ist, dass das alles in der Presse steht. Der große Schlamann für Sky.
I think that the main topic of this article was that this squad, this team is hard or very difficult to handle. What do you think about that? You are here for 5-6 weeks or more? Yeah, more. Yeah, but just a short time. What is your opinion about that? How hard to handle is this team?
My father founded St. Jude Children's Research Hospital because he believed no child.
I think, first of all, it's a team with all good personalities. It's a team with good characters. I don't see players who don't like to be here or something like this. I think when you are in a difficult season like this, one coach is already out. When I came, it was also not a good start with the game in Karlsruhe. Then you stay in the negativity, and you know, in each team of the world, when it's not good, there is always some issues. There will be some problems. So yes, we have a lot of topics to speak about. But for me, it is still in a good way. I don't see big problems. And I said from the start, I will, because since day one I'm here. The first 5-6 days, I got a lot of input from everyone in the club, around the club, who had their opinion. And I made clear for myself, I will analyze, and an analyze I made for myself, it will be after the game of next week. Of course, I will tell what I think, how I see it, and then, of course, we will go for that.
So interesting comments there by Geraerts. Sky Dirk kind of alluded to that. The general consensus from the article is that the players are difficult to handle, right? They're prima donnas. They complain a lot, all this kind of stuff. And Geraerts saying like, hey, look, any team who's going through difficulties is going to have problems, right? And I agree with that. I think this team has strong ambitions. They all want to be in the Bundesliga next year, and they're finding it very difficult. Many people thought that they're going to bounce right back up, and even I thought, I was like, hey, look, this squad is better position than last time when we were in this fight the Liga to bounce right back up. But what we're seeing is that it is a little bit difficult in the moment. And so when you're in difficult moments, naturally, you're going to be some people who are disgruntled or upset. And that's all Geraerts is saying is like, hey, this is natural. Like, whatever. It's not a big deal. I've been here for a while now, and team has good personality. They're strong. And what else is he going to say, right? But I think I'd have to agree with him. And that's only from seeing it from the lens of being here in the United States, is like what we see just in practice and in games is like, yeah, I'm sure they have some of their issues, but they don't seem like, this isn't like when Harit was here and Bentaleb were here and Buyaleb. Those guys were acting like a cancer to the team, where they're causing a lot of distress in the back scenes, and that was causing the morale to go down, and then hence we get relegated that season. I don't think this is it at all. And again, this is from a long distance view from across the pond, but I think this team are frustrated, right? They all want to be doing better. There's players who want to be starting. There's players who want to do better. There's players who are mad at other players. I get that. That's natural. And so I don't think it's that big of a deal. We'll see how the next few games goes. We'll see what Rostock happens, right? We'll get a true reaction of how this actually truly impacts the team. We come out flat. We come out again, not the first 30 minutes, and not do anything. Maybe it has an impact. We come out firing and score 1 or 2 quick goals. See, there's nothing. It's all an aberration. So yeah, we'll see here. But curious to get more enlightened from this article here. I'm really going to be curious now to go read this article about what happened here and the leak that happened in the locker room.
Ja, nochmal Bezug nehmend auf den Artikel, wie schwierig denn das Team ist. Und der Trainer sagt, es sind sehr gute Persönlichkeiten im Team, alle Charaktere sind sehr gut. Er erlebt niemanden, der nicht hier sein will. Was man auch nicht vergessen darf, wenn man in einer schwierigen Situation ist, dann gibt es natürlich immer Themen, zumal er auch hingekommen ist, logischerweise, als der Trainer gewechselt wurde. Es gibt auch jetzt noch Themen, über die gesprochen wird. Er hat von Beginn an sehr, sehr viel Input bekommen. Er macht sich seine Gedanken, macht eine Analyse und wird dann erklären, wie er es sieht. Sieht den Zusammenhalt im Team sehr, sehr gut. Toni Leto für den Kicker.
Sebastian Polter does not play anymore. Please tell us the reasons, and would you miss him if he leaves the club in the winter?
Stirring the pot.
Well, I think Polti played 10-15 minutes in Düsseldorf. So that he don't play anymore, I think it's not so correct. Yes, last game he didn't play because it was 4-0 and other players were playing. So yes, there was a competition in the striker position. They're all doing well. So I think every player needs to push himself to continue, not to stop. Even if you play, you don't play. I like to see eine Mannschaft. I like to see one team, not individuals. And if you want to have success, then we need to do it together and not take out players who don't play so much. Of course, individual, I can understand. Not only Polti, other players that if you don't play so much, you don't feel good because you want to play. But for me, the most important will be always the team.
Interesting. Sounds like the reporter there was kind of trying to stir the pot and saying, "Hey, Polter hasn't been playing in all this, under you." And Geraerts is like, "No. He played 10-15 minutes the other day." It's like, don't be incorrect here. And so you can see he's a little bit testy about that. And he's right. He's like, Geraerts has said from the beginning when he joined Schalke, there will be competition. Nobody's position is safe. And that's how it should be, right? All the top teams in the world with uber depth, right? The Real Madrids of the world, those teams. Sure, there's positions that are locked, but it's a competition. If you don't show up every game, every practice, you're not going to play. Someone else is, right? And so that's all Geraerts is saying. And I like that he's eine Mannschaft. He's trying to get his German. I'm curious when he's going to start speaking all German here, but probably next season if he's still with the team, right? With the goal the team needs at the moment, as disgruntled or disfigured or whatever you want to call it, as broken up they are, they need to figure out a way to play together. That's the way they're going to get results, and that's why you need to have one team, right? And so he kind of took exception with the journalists talking about calling out players individually and saying like, no, this is one team, man. Like everyone has to show up and play. And Polter's not the only one who's not playing or getting minutes. So, it's like everyone's got to grind it out, and, your good performances on practice will show up on the pitch. And I like that from the manager, honestly. So I don't know what more you can ask for.
Ja, die Frage nach Sebastian Polter, der zuletzt wenig gespielt hat und der Trainer sagt, dass er nicht gespielt hat, ist nicht korrekt. Klar, jetzt beim Stand von 4-0 ist er nicht mehr reingekommen. Insgesamt gibt es aber einen guten Konkurrenzkampf auf der Position. Jeder muss sich selbst pushen, egal ob er spielt oder ob er nicht spielt. Ihm ist es wichtig, eine Mannschaft, ein Team zu sehen, keine Individualisten. Und wir gewinnen nur, wenn wir alle zusammenhalten. Das betrifft jetzt aber nicht nur Polti, sondern alle Spieler, die nicht spielen, sind natürlich aufgefordert, sich weiterhin zu pushen. Norbert Neubaum fürs Medienhaus Bau und die Recklinghäuser Zeitung.
What do you think about your opponent, Hansa Rostock? What do you expect on
question about Hansa
Sunday?
Rostock now?
I expect a really tough game. I saw, of course, some games, but their last game, of course, in Karlsruhe, they did well. You see that it's a team with some good football players, a tall, good striker, good midfield. So the atmosphere, I was never in Rostock, but I speak with a lot of people around me, and they tell me that it can be very intense. When we speak about atmosphere, they will wait for us. So that is something special, but good. I think the team must be ready to go in Rostock and be ready to be nice and have a warm atmosphere to play.
A nice, warm atmosphere to play in. Geraerts playing nice. Not trying to stir up the pot, right? And I think that's smart by him. You don't want to make any comments and say anything that kind of gives fuel and inspiration to the opposition. But basically giving Rostock their flowers and saying, okay, there's a difficult team. Jack and I said the same thing, right? It's a tough team. What I'm going to be curious in is, yes, they're a tough team. Can Geraerts and his management team, can they figure out what are Hansa really good at? Can they cancel that out and then create opportunities themselves? we have not had a perfect 90 yet, any point this season where we shut them out and we shut out their strengths, we force them in their weaknesses, and we score lots of goals as a result. Osnabrück, maybe, but I mean, like a team that's we're in direct competition for, and trying to move up the table. Hansa is at the one place above us in the table. So I'm curious how we respond to this game. Again, it's the opening match. Last game was good that we started off quick, but for the most part, we started so slow, and you can't have that. And if you're going to be in an atmosphere, a daunting atmosphere like Rostock can be, you're going to be a long day. And so Geraerts says basically, hey, just embrace the chaos. They're going to have to. They're going to have to, for sure. All right.
Ja, die Frage nach dem Gegner. Er sagt, sie haben gute Spieler, gute Stürmer, ein gutes Mittelfeld. Ihm wurde schon von vielen Leuten gesagt, dass die Atmosphäre sehr intensiv werden kann. Er selbst war noch nie in Rostock, aber er wird die Mannschaft darauf vorbereiten, sodass dann alle bereit sein werden. Dir große Schlamann für Sky.
Sky Dirk again.
Coach, I recognized that during the training, the aggressiveness was very high.
Oh, these commercials, man. What game is this? Japanese Battleship Simulator. Interesting.
It seems like the team feels more alive. Do you recognize something as well, that maybe because of new fitness level and this victory, that there is a new fighting for the starting positions?
That is definitely. I think it's already, because I see every training, I see really a big progress when we speak about the fitness level. Definitely, we are making big steps. So we will not speak so much about this anymore. I think that the physical level we can put on a side. But yes, the team needs to be sometimes more aggressive on a healthy way, of course, not in the wrong direction, but I like to see it on training. That's what I sometimes mean by having a good mentality. Winning mentality is for me important to see every day. And it's correct that I see it more and more in the training from my players. And of course, the most important is to see it in the weekend, in the games.
So Sky Dirk asking him about how, what the aggressiveness in his trainings and stuff like that. And I like what Geraerts is saying is like, he said this from the beginning, his very first press conference is like, look, I'm trying to build a winning mentality with this club. This team has had a losing mentality for how long now? I mean, since we've been doing this podcast, last 7-8 years, it seems like the mentality has just been negative. Goal gets scored against us and everyone's head drops, and usually another goal comes in as a result. And it's like, you got to get out of that. You got to get out of your way. And so he's trying to instill that winning mentality. You got to be aggressive when you to get that out of you. And so what he's doing is he's upping the intensity and the aggressiveness in the practice. And as he said it, looking at the good way of it, not trying to like just get yellow cards and stuff like that, not that kind of aggressiveness. And it's showing up because guys are getting more fit, more competition, and he's noticing that more and more people are buying into it, and guys are getting better and better. And so this only leads to more competition, to Sky Dirk's comments. And then, hopefully that translates into good performances and thus wins in the weekend. So, I like it. And we talked about it so many times on our podcast, how like when either we have the ball or even when we don't have the ball, we're not aggressive enough. And occasionally, even under Rice, we occasionally press, but we found ourselves, if they beat our trap or whatever it was, they would have this great counterattack going the other way. And it's like, damn, that was all for naught, really. What we saw against Osnabrück, and even to an extent in the second half of Dusseldorf, we started pressing them timely presses. It wasn't just press all the time. It was like, look, wait for the moment and go and put the pressure on them, make them turn it over. Osnabrück could not handle it. Hopefully Hansa will have trouble with the press as well. But we got to be an aggressive team to get results, and we can't be static. That's another thing too. We've been so static with the ball, especially in the final third. We got to get better. We got to move around. Geraerts, he loves his team to have those triangle passes, the quick 1-2s. We saw that with the 4-4-2 diamond. So hopefully they can continue improving upon that. But man, long way from a finished product.
Ja, die Frage, ob das Team inzwischen lebhafter ist im Training, was der Sieg dahingegen bewirkt hat. Und er sagt, ja, ich sehe jedes Training, ich sehe große Fortschritte, gerade auch im Bereich der Fitness. Das Team muss immer ein gesundes Maß an Aggressivität zeigen. Die Wirkung-Mentalität, die Winning Mentality, die er seit Tag 1 hier vorlebt, die seht ihr jetzt immer mehr, kommt in jedem Training mehr zum Vorschein und das macht ihn natürlich auch sehr froh. Andreas Ernst für die
It is difficult, believe me. I used to be a translator. It is difficult to do something live.
Marius Müller has returned to the pitch. What is your plan?
Yeah, he is now making the first steps again on the field to have the first contacts with the hands and the feet with the ball. So the idea is that he is fit for the second part of the season when we go from 2 or 3 January together. Then it is the idea, and we will see if it's like this that he will be back with the squad.
So Marius Müller is
die Frage nach Marius Müller, der jetzt wieder auf dem Platz steht. Der Trainer sagt, er macht seine ersten Schritte, hat die ersten Kontakte auf dem Feld. Und der Plan ist, dass wenn wir zur Vorbereitung auf die auf die Rückrunde wieder zusammenkommen, dass er dann auch wieder dabei sein soll. Andreas Ernst nochmal für die Wachs.
Get healthier. We need that.
If you speak about January,
there's no reason really why to rush him because Fairman's playing okay right now. So, you know what I mean? So.
The winter break is not far away, but there's no information yet about the training camp. Would that be important for you?
Yes, of course. I think it's really important to have a training camp because...
Stop him right there. The training camp, I just saw a report today, and I think it's from our friends at Schalke Brazil, saying that Schalke may cancel their training camp. I don't know if it's a training camp or just games in Portugal because they want to save some money for the January window, which is interesting. You could tell we're not doing well in these financial times when we have to stop doing a training camp or friendlies during the Winterpause because we want to save money for the transfers. So that's something interesting there for the.
You have the team together to put some accents. Yeah, for me it's how you call it. It's a logical thing to go on camp. Yes.
Ja, die Frage nach einem möglichen Trainingslager.
Geraerts saying, "Hey, I'm looking forward to a training camp in the winter break. Chance really to bond with the team. I think it's important. I don't know if going to winter camp, and this is me never being a manager or a player on a professional level, but a training camp or just a time to bond with the team, just focusing on tactics and practice is important. Does it matter if you go away to Portugal or the mountains, the Alps of Austria? I don't know if that matters as much. It's probably good for bonding, right? But you do that in the off season, not during the winter break. So I don't think it would matter there, but I think they need some time to get to know each other. Geraerts is still fairly new to this team, right? He's only been there a month and a half, close to 2 months. They all got to get to know each other. They got to figure things out and bond and get all on the same page. Stop those leaks from happening to the press. And so, they got to get it done. Let's go.
Beziehungsweise wie wichtig ein Trainingslager generell für ihn ist. Und er sagt, natürlich ist es wichtig für mich, da habe ich das Team zusammen. Es wäre ein logischer Schritt. Da gehen direkt mehrere Hände hoch. Toni Lieto für den Kicker.
Cedric Brunner does not play from the beginning against Osnabrück. Is he now an option for the starting 11?
Yes, he was against Osnabrück also an option. He will be an option again on Sunday. Yes, he is there. He is available. So it's up to me to make decision, of course.
Cedric
Die Frage nach Cedric Brunner, ob er eine Option für die Startelf sei, und der Trainer sagt, ja, ist er definitiv, er ist da verfügbar und er muss sich jetzt Gedanken machen, wen er in die Startelf schickt.
I was shocked when I saw him. I talked about this on the podcast when I saw Brunner on the pitch and I forgot he was part of the team because he had been gone for so long with his injury or whatever it was. And I was like, what the hell? Brunner's here. I would be in favor of that.
Norbert Neubaum fürs Medienhausbauer und die Recklinghäuser Zeitung.
Coach, you are one of the responsible people for the next winter transfer period. And I think it's a very important period for the club. What is your philosophy? What is your wish? Is maybe your wish that the club takes a little bit more higher risk, a higher financial risk for maybe to attack the higher positions in the ranking?
No, I don't want that the club take higher financial risk because then maybe the club can have big problems. So that is not what I want. Of course, like I said in the beginning, I will give my ideas after the last game, and then we will sit together and to say what we think, we see it, and from that moment we need also to make decisions if we need to take decisions.
So Geraerts playing a little bit of poker here, not really dealing his cards and saying, "Hey, look, I want to put the team in financial straits."
Ja, ein Blick voraus in die Transferperiode und wie die Philosophie mit Blick auf diese ist, ob auch ein höheres.
I know what I want to do. I have an idea. I'll probably know more in the next 2 games here, Hansa, and then whoever. Then who's the last game? Last game is against where am I? Greuther Fürth. But he's like, I'll give my assessment to the powers that be, Andre Heckelman and company. But yeah, I'm sure in an ideal world he'd like to spend some money and he'll say where he thinks he needs to be improved. But he's being very diplomatic, and I think obviously him going and seeing the Belgian king the other day in his tuxedo, right? He's playing diplomatic right there. So very bureaucratic. So what else do you expect from him, right?
Finanzielles Risiko in Kauf genommen werden sollte. Der Trainer sagt, nein, er möchte nicht, dass der Club ein hohes finanzielles Risiko in Kauf nimmt. Für ihn geht es darum, er hat ja von Beginn an gesagt, er wird sich alle Spiele anschauen, wird nach dem letzten Spiel seine Ideen einbringen. Sie werden sich zusammensetzen und werden dann schauen, was umsetzbar ist. Andreas Ernst für die Watz.
Andreas Ernst, last question.
Thomas Ouwejan is back this week. How did he present himself? And does he now have a disadvantage against Tobias Moore and David John Merkin? They did well against Osnabrück.
But I think that both what you say, Toby and they do already for all games good for me. So they're making a very good month since I'm here. Derry and Toby are doing well, but when Toby played was also very good, Thomas. So I think he has no disadvantage. For me, he came back, he presented himself on a correct way. He had his punishment, and for me, the case was closed to when he came back on Monday.
Okay, interesting. Talking about Thomas Ouwejan, Andreas Ernst. I guess it was not the last question. It was a quick one. But asking about, he's coming back now. How is he back in the fold? Is he going to be, punished more? And Geraerts is like, nah, man, he's good. I'm going to disagree with Geraerts in the sense that he said that there's no disadvantage for Thomas Ouwejan, right? He's right there with the other 2 guys in terms of, who gets opportunity. But I mean, it's a difficult one because Ouwejan, when he's played well, he's been our reason why we had as many goals and points so far, because he was played so fantastic with the set pieces in particular. But what we've seen lately is with those double guys there, Merkin and Moore on the left hand side, they can coexist together. Toby Moore is pretty decent at the free kick. He's not Thomas Ouwejan good, but he's got a decent left-footed shot. And Merkin as well. Merkin's been pretty good too. Merkin, even when he's playing as one of the 3 center backs, he's pushing up, man. And I like seeing that double stack there. And even Jack and I were talking about that. Like, even if it's Thomas Ouwejan, you need to have 2 guys there. Whether it's Merkin, Moore, Ouwejan, Moore. Well, Moore needs to be the higher up, but he's not a defender. He's pretty bad defensively. But whether it's Merkin has to play at this point. He's been our best defender by far, I think, most consistent. So where do you put Thomas Ouwejan? Where do you put Moore? I think Ouwejan's gonna have to earn his way, unless there's a formation that we're starting from the get-go that it's 4 at the back. I don't know. It's gonna be hard to get Thomas Ouwejan back into the fray, just because it's almost hard to exclude Toby Moore at this point. And Merkin is a definitive starter, in my opinion, on this team. So I'd love to see Thomas Ouwejan. Right, his set pieces are fantastic. I love the player, but at the moment, the advantage is clearly with Tobias Moore and Derry John Merkin. So we'll see. Good to see that he came back, and you expect nothing else from Thomas Ouwejan. I'm sure he'll get his opportunities. Injuries happen. This team has been plagued by injuries, right? So all anybody can ask for is be ready, next man to stand up and get involved with the match. So.
Thomas Ouwejan ist zurück und nun die Frage, ob er einen Nachteil hat, weil es Tobias Moore und Derry Merkin zuletzt gut gemacht haben. Der Trainer sagt, die beiden haben es nicht nur in den letzten Spielen gut gemacht, sondern seitdem er hier ist, aber auch Thomas, wenn er gespielt hat, hat es gut gemacht. Thomas hat sich in der Woche jetzt gut präsentiert und hat keinen Nachteil den anderen gegenüber. Gibt es weitere Fragen eurerseits? Andreas Ernst nochmal für die Watz.
Andreas Ernst again.
Maybe the perfect last question. Have you spoken to the German president, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, about Schalke? He's a big Schalke supporter.
Yes, I spoke. I had a good conversation with him. I was positive, surprised how human, open-minded he is as a president. It was really nice. For me, you need to know it was an honor for me because the Belgian king and queen, they came here, and for me, I am like say how you say it, very proud to be there because it's an honor. And then I also spoke with the German president, and it was like he really charming, really nice. So I enjoyed really to speak with him. Of course, he knows Schalke really good, and we spoke about Schalke. But the most important for me was to have that feeling and to feel welcome in his Schloss.
All right. Well, that concludes the press conference. He said that the German president is apparently a Schalke supporter. This is obviously talking about he was dressed up in just in the nines with his tuxedo going to meet the Belgian king. The Belgian king was a visitor or a guest of the president of Germany, and so he merely just said, "No, I was there going for the king of Belgium because obviously I'm very proud as a Belgian, but got to meet the president there." And yeah, interesting last question. A nice tongue-in-cheek one, I guess. But too bad we can't get any help. Maybe he can help us financially, right? Give us some help there. I don't know. We got a lot of things to fix at the moment. Money would be nice at the moment. Not saying it from the German president. And certainly not from Clementoni's, but we got to figure things out. Hopefully this team can turn it around here. 2 games to go. I mean, if we can get back-to-back wins, that would be absolutely ideal. Because, I mean, you look at the table right now, right? And I'm shooting for the moon at the moment, right? I'm shooting for the stars. But, looking at the standings with these last 2 games, we are currently at 16 points. We finished on 22 points. We're in the top 10. After a shitty season that we've had thus far, if we could somehow end in the top 10 at the Winterpause, that would be freaking amazing. But we'll see. It's a long way to go. The Osnabrück match was fun, right? It was nice for a change to watch a game and not be worried about the opposition probably scoring a goal and can we hold on? I don't know. This was nice to watch. Maybe more of that against Hansa Rostock, right? Please, but we'll see. It's going to be a tough game in Hansa Rostock, and then the last game is at home, which is good. Which is next Friday. Man, these fucking Friday games. Excuse my French, man. But yeah, quick turnaround Sunday and then Friday. But the last 2 games before a long break, and then next game to kick off the Rückrunde is Hamburg, January 20th. Gonna have some downtime, right? I might have to go play some Football Manager with Schalke and see what I can do during that time. So I gotta keep the podcast voice fresh during this whole time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. We just a little breakdown of the press conference here, trying to give my insights, thoughts into what Geraerts said, what he didn't say, right? And maybe we'll try to do more of this with the pre and post match press conferences. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. It's Friday night or Saturday morning for you crazy Germans watching me this morning right now live. Applaud you. It's almost 4 a.m. My goodness, Glück auf. But yeah, we'll catch you guys soon, and hopefully it is a Victory Monday podcast coming up here on Monday night. We will see, but we'll be here live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube and Facebook, I think, too. So we'll catch you then. And then for Jack and myself, enjoy the game, and hopefully the boys can pull another big victory out here. So catch you soon. Glück auf.